Good day and welcome to Natural Health Dialogue. Today we have the pleasure of being with naturopathic Dr. Kim Anderson, and she is the specialist for the program on simples and flower essences. And today is Flower Essences Day, but we're going to talk about foods like hot dogs and hamburgers because she's going to tell us all about how they're, maybe we're not exactly going to do that, but we are going to talk about a condiment, I think. I don't even know. It has the same name. Naturopathic Dr. Kim Anderson. Could you tell us what's going on?
Hi, Joseph.
Hello.
That is funny because whenever I think of mustard, that's what I think as well. I think of a hot dog or a condiment, and the seeds are definitely, there's some connection there. There's different types of mustard. The yellow mustard is the mustard seed is one that we're going to be talking about today. And of course, that does have, that is where we get the condiment when it's mixed with vinegar. But what I love about the mustard is the flower, the essence. And if our listeners remember, as we've talked about essences before, essences don't have the actual component of the plant. That's why they're referred to as essence. They are actually, spring water is used to somewhat distill in the process of the plant, and then that water is separated and then used, and that is what is being used for the emotional part, or the vibrational energy of it. It can really sound hoodoo, but it really has great benefits emotionally. So mustard has a lot of good medicinal properties as well, but we're talking about that essence and how it can affect us and help us emotionally. And what it has a great affinity for is depression that has no root cause. It is something that just descends. We don't have any real reason why it occurs. It can descend quickly. It can last for a very short time, and but it could last a week or 2 weeks, and we don't have any real reason. We can't think of any reason why we would feel like that. There hasn't been anything particularly stressful or any kind of trauma or grief situation.
So
It
no trigger.
just No, exactly. I love that word. There's no trigger. We cannot place it. And no matter how much we will ourselves to feel better, count our blessings, we just can't seem to shake it. And that's where mustard is so great. Many times for those of us that do have issues like that, there's a root in the liver that we need to work with. We work with our clients on that. But mustard is a great way to just kind of help get through those symptoms, to be uplifting. When we're in that state, we may experience things like we just don't have any ambition to do things. There may be some fatigue. We don't enjoy what we normally would enjoy. We suddenly have this, and the key word here is suddenly. We suddenly have this weighed down feeling. We feel like there's a cloud. There's just kind of this sense of a black cloud that is over us. And we are having a very difficult time hiding that from other people. It's interesting to know, especially, Robin Williams. We were all so surprised with, his loss of life. And, with someone that was so funny and comical, we then in hindsight find out that he struggled with depression. He was able to hide that. Many people that struggle with depression can hide that. But this type of depression, it comes on so suddenly and so intensely. It's not something that we really can hide. In fact, others will notice that about us. And like I said, again, no matter how much we think logically or try to willfully feel better, or we're thinking if we can just do more positive things, that'll get better. But no amount is going to help with that. And these are the characteristics that mustard is really good with. Joseph, have you ever seen a mustard plant?
I haven't seen a plant, but I know the
The,
seeds are really small.
the seeds are really small. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because Jesus referred to those seeds in Matthew 17:20. He said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, the mustard seed is very, very tiny. And I love that, because I don't think Jesus is referring to us having a superpower. He says, if we have the faith of a mustard seed, that nothing is impossible for us, that he's not referring to a superpower. He's really referring to our faith and abiding in him and the
Mm-hmm.
strength that we have through him. But I love that he used a mustard seed. It is small, so a great analogy. But I love it because mustard seeds are very tenacious. They will come up in some of the most random places. They don't like acidic soil, but they'll come up in the most random strange places. And like dandelion that we spoke about last month,
Mm-hmm.
people want to eradicate them. They consider them weeds, but their very characteristics are something that an image of they bring forth light. In fact, Dr. Edward Bach, who developed the flower essence therapies, he referred to them as the light flower. They're very tenacious and they're very bright. They're yellow. And so, especially when there's, a field of them and we have, quite a few together, you just cannot help but smile. They're just bright. They're sunshiny. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how else to
Mm-hmm.
describe that. They just think of sunshine. And so those are the characteristics that we love in this flower essence. These characteristics that can help us lift that sudden gloomy feeling and despair feeling. Dr. Bach said that the mustard is good for those who are liable to times of gloom or even despair. They feel as though a dark cloud has overshadowed them. The light and the joy in life is hidden from them. And so again, we see that characteristic of the mustard where it's the light flower. It brings forth kind of a sunshine feel about it. And it can be very uplifting for those of us who struggle with this kind of emotional state.
And I can imagine when that sort of state falls over you, it could be so enveloping where you feel so isolated. Maybe it's
Yes.
difficult to even think to use mustard seed to help
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, that's a very good point. It happens so suddenly that sometimes we feel perplexed and then it can lift just as suddenly. So it kind of leaves us in a state of feeling like, when is this going to hit? We don't know what the trigger is. We don't know, what is happening. And so I just encourage anyone who feels like this might fit with them, that this describes them. I just encourage them. We at the Health Patch are happy to help you find, whatever would work best for you. But I do encourage you, if this is something, this description fits you, get some mustard, keep it on hand, let it be kind of your go-to. It's safe for children, it's safe for pets, it's safe for the elderly. So it's not anything that you have to worry about overdoing. So I just encourage you to have some mustard on hand, the essence, not the condiment, and keep that on hand and take that, 3 or 4 drops several times a day and
Under the
see if you
tongue.
yep, you can hold it under the tongue and see if that is something that won't be beneficial for you. Again, I love this whole flower essence therapy. I think it has been a wonderful aid for many who, it just helps with the emotional part of our being.
Have you personally used it?
Yes, I have. The one that I use blends. Here at the Health Patch, we have some blends of flower essences that are designed for specific purposes. So again, at the Health Patch, we'd be happy to help you and get you connected with something that can help you during times of just not feeling yourself.
Mm. That's a good way to put it, I think. Just not feeling yourself.
Yeah,
Amen.
it is.
All right. Very good. And to contact the Health Patch, 405-736-1030. You might even get to talk to a naturopathic Dr. Anderson if she picks up the phone. Who knows?
That would be great. Of course, you can ask
And
for me too.
there you go. Absolutely. And then 1024 South Douglas in Midwest City, Oklahoma. Thank you, Kim, for that insight. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Joseph.